Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the North American LCS Summer Split. My name is David Freak Turley, performing a caster hot swap in the Battle Theater is the one and only, my favorite Canadian of the week, Isaac Azale Cummings-Bentley.
Of the week?
Of
I don't
the
even
week.
get like month or
Of the month, you're right. Of the month.
Thank you.
Of the year so far, over
There you
chat
go.
for the entire until June. Now we're preparing for our next match as Team Liquid faces off against Echo Fox. Now looking at Liquid first off, it turns out that if you bring a 2-8 roster into the North American LCS, they're going to look a lot like a 2-8 roster when they actually play.
Yeah, and I mean, the games kind of felt like they were playing out exactly as they had last split. They had some problems in the draft. You know, the Rakan-Jhin combo didn't really necessarily make a lot of sense, I think, to a lot of players. They weren't really able to capitalize on a huge early advantage that they had gotten there. And already, after one series, they're making changes. And Golden Glue's already out. Slushy's in. So they're going to be making a swap in the mid lane, and we'll see what kind of impact Slushy is going to have, because Golden Glue did not have a great series for himself.
I thought Piglet looked very good in his Twitch games. Maybe that continues to be a point of strength, but we'll see. But talking about other reminiscent beginnings of last split, we had Acadian doing well early on. That Graves in game one especially looked very good. Echo Fox came out with a victory yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, Acadian did look really good, and it's important in their wins. This guy has always been such a strong player, so it's important that he is performing and enabling Froggen, who was so fed in his series yesterday and really helped to push the game forward and kind of get to that late game stage where he could take over. He dealt over 42% of the team's damage in both games, which is like absurd for that mid laner, and really was crushing. And we did see some definite improvements from the team, and their vision game was kind of looking better here too. So definitely some positive things for Echo Fox.
Yeah, you can see the stat line for his Lucian, plus 50 CSD at 15. And it's so funny because when you talk to Froggen, there's two things coming in here. So one, the perception of him as a player is, oh, he's this Anivia man, he fights, he just hides back, whatever. But he'll always tell you his highest win rate champion is Zed. He actually thinks he's very good on in-your-face assassins, and the LeBlanc and Lucian both are more aggro champions. He did very well on them, so we'll see if he continues to be the marquee player for Echo Fox. And now, as we get ourselves ready to start the game up, let's begin with the starting lineups. And on the blue side for game one is Team Liquid. Lorlo in the top lane, Rainover in the jungle, Slushy joining now in the mid lane, Piglet still in the bot lane alongside Matt, and their coach David Lim will close out picks and bans at the end of week one.
And on the red side today, their opponents are Echo Fox. In the top lane, Looper. In the jungle, Acadian. Mid lane, Froggen. Bot lane, Keith. Support, Gate. And coach, and Arrow.
We'll see what it's going to be as the players are getting ready to go. Liquid are in here, and Echo Fox waiting for them to join up, but we'll be ready to get this one underway soon. And it's interesting because I always want to believe in Golden Glue. It's a player that I liked so much, and talking about the fact that Liquid have put Slushy into the mid lane, it was a player who was always good in scrims but never translated on stage, and it looked like in their first match against CLG, it was back to the on-stage Golden Glue who couldn't quite perform, and I applaud Liquid for having a standby ready to say, look, if he continues to perform poorly on stage, we've got a new mid laner to try out, and they're making the choice early. Give him a chance. If it's not there, then let's try something else.
I mean, it is nice to see it from that side of a point of view, but at the same time, it can be really tough, because if you then have a poor game for Slushy, do you go back to Golden Glue, who has now kind of had his confidence, I think, taken a bit of a hit by being subbed out this early? So, there's arguments to both sides of it, and I think it can be really tough when you have a player who's consistently showing up in scrims but not on stage, because the team still has that faith in him. But at a certain point, Golden Glue has been around in the professional scene for years. Despite going to Korea and having a successful boot camp there, what you see is generally what you get after a couple years in the professional scene.
And I agree with you. I think back to Liquid's former mid laner in Phoenix, where it was the same story, where he looked pretty mediocre for the first half of his season, and the thought was always, oh no, he's the best mid laner NA in scrims. And at a certain point it turned on, and Phoenix became this beast of a mid lane. We've seen that as Azir clip probably 70 times from the guy where he gets the 1v4. But you're right. With how long they've been playing with Golden Glue, maybe he doesn't come back in. I don't know. It remains to be seen, of course. And it has been an unfortunate situation for Liquid, who used to be one of these really top teams. And, the meme was they were always fourth. They'd love to get back to fourth at this point. And having issues finding the right players has certainly been rough for them.
Yeah, it has, but there are some things working for them. I think that the meta, when you look at a lot of the individual players, you talked about Piglet, carry 80 carries are so good right now. Things like Twitch, things like Lucian, you have Kog'Maw, you have Caitlyn, like all these very damage-oriented, not supportive style. You can play them all. You can build comps around them, and they're super successful. And also Rainover, this guy was a multiple MVP. Like, he was incredible in Europe and in North America for quite some time with Immortals. tank junglers are back in. So there's certainly a lot of comfort picks that are going to be available for both of these players, and they should be the standouts really on this team when you're talking about big names.
Yes, and we'll see if it can happen. Again, mentioning Piglet, 6-1-3, I think it was on his Twitch game, or 6-1-2, certainly a great scoreline. Reignover actually did not have a good start. He was a less than 1 KDA in both those games against CLG. Stats don't say everything, of course, but still need to see him step up a bit more. First pick Shen has come through for Liquid.
And it was interesting because although everyone kind of talks about Reignover as the tank player, he elected to go with early Elise and a Rengar, right? Not traditional tank style junglers. And, Sejuani jungle is something we have seen in some other regions. Gragas as a good top jungle flex has been powerful. Zac obviously getting banned out a lot, but that is a very powerful tank jungler. Yep. Olaf has always been something that he's been very good on. So there's a lot of junglers that he has had a lot of success over the years on that are in the meta now. And with Elise getting picked up here for Acadian, I think that Olaf can be a good response. That traditionally has been one that a lot of teams have been using.
We'll see what ends up being. Fox going to have a nice early pressure jungler for Acadian. That is one of his hallmarks here as a player. Varus alongside. So Keith has the option of playing Ashe, and he doesn't. Go for it. Insane pick ban out of Echo Fox.
Well, I mean, they also are passing up on Caitlyn here too, right?
Sure.
I know you're just making a joke. But Caitlyn, very powerful early AD carry pick here too. That's still going to be available, and I think it fits Piglet's style, but they are electing to skip over that, and that's something that we saw them doing yesterday as well, which was something I didn't love about their pick ban. When Piglet is getting pushed down to a Jhin or whatever, not that there weren't other options, but when they feel like that's something they have to pick, I have never seen Piglet as that successful supportive style AD carry. He was very outspoken about the fact that he didn't like playing that sort of style. So, why relegate him to that when he's probably going to be targeted in picks and bans for the second round?
I totally agree with you. So we are going to see the first phase of picks done. Elise, Varus, Karma. We know Karma can be a flex. We've seen several players bring Karma out into the mid lane, although it is still more than likely that Gate is playing it down there alongside Keith, of course, a great bot laner in general. Lulu as well, a flex. I think I've seen Sushi play it in the professional league before, but again, considered to be a support pick more often than not. Reignover is going for another high damage, low durability jungler here. You mentioned the Elise, you mentioned the Rengar, now a Kha'Zix to join the mix, so still it's early pressure and squishiness out of Reignover. It's less CC, but at least they have the Shen for being a tank in the front line.
Yeah, definitely. And I do think that when you look at Team Liquid's roster here, okay, so Caitlyn and Twitch have been taken away, but if you want to play a Protect the AD carry composition, you can still draft something like Orianna Kog'Maw as your second phase, and that may be taken away, but that is a very powerful composition in combination with the Lulu and the Shen to buff up and protect that AD carry. We haven't really seen Piglet playing something like a Kog'Maw. He had that great Twitch game, and we know he can play Caitlyn in some of these, but will he have the confidence to actually go over onto a Kog'Maw?
We'll see what it ends up being. They are not going to add a Syndra ban here from Liquid, so Echo Fox have the chance to blind pick a Syndra if they wanted to as one of those marquee mid laners, but Froggen's Lucian is gone, and Orianna, one of Slushy's hallmarks, is still available.
And I mean, you can go for, blind pick Syndra here, but one of the issues with blind picking Syndra on the red side here for Echo Fox would be if Slushy can actually play something like the Fizz or like the Echo. That can be a pretty favorable matchup. So you grab Galio, which can be a mid flex. We saw Bjergsen play it, not to too much success, but he did play it a couple games in a row, and this can open you up for more kind of counter picks.
And Froggen was nonstop tweeting about the Galio in that Bjergsen game, actually. He was like, oh, it's mid Galio with a bunch of heart face emojis. So we know Froggen's happy to play it. Maybe he was trying to bait Liquid into thinking it was going mid. Who knows? Either way, Kog'Maw does come through for Piglet, so another very auto-attack focused bot lane, and that Syndra kind of blind comes in against Froggen's Echo.
Yeah, so this is actually really smart because the Galio would have matched up well against the Shen regardless, so you're happy putting it at top. It is pretty good against basically any blind pick AP mid laner as well, because you can itemize into magic resist very easily and wave clear. So they have a pretty nice pushing top. They get the counter pick on mid lane here. They have a solid bot lane, an aggressive jungler for Acadian. So I think there's very powerful playmaking. A lot of ways in for the Galio here too, with both the Echo and the dive on the Elise. That said, Team Liquid, I think that they're looking much more for a late game. You split push it out on the Shen. You try to keep this kind of a slower pace. And if Kog'Maw can get the late game with Lulu and that Shen backing him up, Piglet could be monstrous.
Absolutely could be monstrous. Piglet on auto attackers has been pretty great so far this split. We'll see if that continues as you get ready to go into the first game of this match. Echo Fox did get a very nice 2-0 win. Not the most convincing, but 2-0's a 2-0. So Echo Fox coming into this one 1-0 in matches by beating up FlyQuest yesterday. Liquid had dropped against CLG 0-2 themselves, but certainly have the chance to fire back. And with Slushie now in the lineup, filling in with a Syndra in the mid lane, Liquid are going to hope that there's some more strength through that mid, through which to push this game over. Liquid have had some very good early games and have failed to close them out. I don't know if the Slushie chain is going to change that, but Piglet having a high damage carry may be enough to move the needle there as we get ready to go into this game 1.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but to me, their problems against CLG, looked much more like it was about shot calling, macro play, rather than, composition or even individual, outplays and things like this. They just didn't know where to be on the map at the right times. And despite massive early game lead that was kind of gifted over to them by CLG, where Piglet actually started with 3 kills at 3 minutes and double buffs, they went even in lane, they're trading turrets. That's not the kind of thing you want to be having happen from that position of power.
Absolutely agree. So we'll see what happens here as we get ourselves into the first game of this one. Liquid hoping to maybe make that top 4 that used to be known for back in the day. It's been struggles and roster issues for the last year here for Liquid and Blue. Echo Fox never quite had the split they wanted. They've been steadily improving, but maybe not at quite the rate. Initially, it was we're a summer split team, then summer came around and it still wasn't very special. And this time around, they kept the roster together, and I think maybe this time around, it really does come forward as something useful.
And at the beginning of spring, this last spring, they were doing very, very well at the start, and it seemed like things were all on the up and up. They were going to be this very powerful team, and then it kind of started going downhill. And a lot of that, success at the start was on the back of Acadian, but as some of the carry-style junglers were getting nerfed, he wasn't finding nearly as much success, and that really made it so that they didn't have that early game power anymore, and they weren't really having a lot of success out of the bot lane either, so they had been kind of losing their strengths, and it felt like they fell back into some of their more old problems.
We'll see if any of them get fixed here under this one, as minions have spawned, and that Galio skin looks super sick. It's distracting me. But it really is. I think that's actually maybe my favorite skin, or up there now in the game, because he looks awesome. We're going to get ready to go on this one. Looks like a Raptors start for Acadian, and actually Froggen's not going to give that away. It's actually trivial for Echo to toss a Q in to make that a bit faster, and doesn't seem to care. Rainover does get help from Slushie.
One thing I will say, and I know this from experience, is when you're playing Galio top and you're leashing, if the mid laner leashes as well, you are probably going to steal some of those little raptors, and your jungler may flame you and then leave the game. So these are things that can happen, because Galio with his passive auto is AoE plus the Winds of War does so much damage. Any more damage, oftentimes you steal from the jungler.
And I assume it's something that they've practiced before. It's like, hey, just Echo Galio one-shot the wave. All right, maybe we shouldn't go for it then. And either way, it shouldn't be too much of an issue as both junglers go to their respective reds. Then Elise heads, and actually the Cosmic's the same, going for Krug's clears as well. Oftentimes this means an early level 3 recall from the junglers, and they'll be back on the map with full health and a control ward afterwards. Piglet and Matt getting shoved out. Of course, level 2 comes first in for Gate, and Piglet at a 200 HP. Nice trade out of Keith and Gate. Piglet did not run away in time.
Yeah, that's just something that's like a loss of focus almost. You should be able to count the minions, know when they're hitting level 2, anticipate this, and back off early. Yes, you have to give up a little bit of CS, but oftentimes it's worth giving up 1 or 2 CS to actually maintain the health so that you can then fight for more later.
Exactly. And thankfully, Doran's shield is great regen, and Piglet should be back to full HP off just the first potion without too many issues. Acadian now looking in for the top side of mid lane, and actually just coming around, of course, as Slushie is all the way in, but he was there in case a gank came through from Rainover. None was seen, and they're going to be fine. Rainover, of course, did go for the recall, and is back on the map now with that control ward. Acadian stayed on the map, but didn't get anything for it.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be able to complete a full clear if he wants. He did get the scuttle, so a little bit of topside protection for the Galio. That's something that can be pretty nice, because very often the Kazakhs will do this free camp recall where he starts at Raptors, and knowing that the second place and kind of the first place of attack is going to be top lane. So taking down the scuttle, getting in a ward, that gives a lot of protection for your Galio against Shen, Kazakhs, who has a fair bit of gank assist.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So a little bit safety there from Acadian, and does lose maybe a little bit of selfishness because, again, he didn't get to buy and get a control ward out, but at some point, of course, he will match that recall. Rainover staying in the farm game, has 1 camp left to clear till his side of the jungle is all gone, and at this point, the Raptors are going to be respawning in 10 seconds. Matt taking a big chunk of HP down. Wow. 100 health left on him. Good trade out of Gate and Keith.
And they could have maybe even ignited there to actually force a summoner at the very least. I think you would have gotten a heal out, but it's one of those calls that can be a bit risky if you can't get that summoner payoff. Getting that low, though, for Matt, he's out of potions, and with the Ignite available on gate, if he eats another round of poke like that, he's going to be in so much trouble.
And Acadian looking to stalk Rainover. Here comes the attempted stun from Frog. Not going to land that just yet, but the Cocoon from the Fog of War is going to land, and First Blood comes through, and continually Echo Fox find the early invades thanks to Acadian.
Yeah, very well done. They had a ward on the Raptor, so they saw him come around, but Piglet in trouble now in the bot lane.
200 HP left. Keith with the shield still, I think, wins that trade, and looks like they'll be forcing an early recall, and a pretty painful one at that, out of the Liquid bot lane. Not enough money for a Vamp Scepter on Piglet means he wants to wait for one more wave.
And Acadian is behind Slushie here, too. Is spotted out by the pink ward, now knows that, but so this is the ward there. In the Raptors that Froggen had laid earlier, they spot him, Acadian comes around, lands the Cocoon, flash in immediately from Froggen, knowing they can commit for that. And not only do they get First Blood, that's a flashless Rainover who's gonna have to be so scared in his jungle going up against this First Blood Elise.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, the flash was actually useless. He didn't quite judge the damage right, and yeah, that's gonna make things hard. Acadian level 5 waiting. Says, okay, you're maybe doing Krugs. If you walk back, I'll find you. And right now, won't find that second kill just yet, but it can be so tilting to die inside your own jungle after you just died again. And look at this patience out of him. And there's a ward just to his right. If he steps out, Rainover knows. And now he knows.
Do you have to remember the time investment here, though? They're actually TPing down, but Rainover is here, so this is a risky dive. I don't know if they can really go for this. I think they need to call it off, but they're going to try anyway. Double TP is there.
They get low to come down. Top lane wave shouldn't mean too much on either side, and everyone just walks right back away. And unfortunately for Echo Fox, it is a waste of Acadian's time.
Yeah, waste of Acadian's time, and they expend 2 teleports to just the 1 to answer there. So Summoner is down. They wanted to get on the play, but they never knew that Rainover was right around. And had he not been there, they perhaps could have gone for that dive, and it would have been a well-executed play, but now trying to make advantage of that and go for the Inferno.
At the very least, they do get this. A lot of this was the bot lane pressure itself because of what Keith and Gate were doing, and props to them for winning a lane. Sure, the matchup is an advantage, but with how much flat Keith has gotten, props to him, and now the trade onto Slushie, level 6 available on the Syndra. You know, Froggen can dodge if he needs to, and he's going to jump right back in for a stun on the Kha'Zix and gets out. That was nicely played by Froggen.
That was actually super well timed. Ulting back right at the moment as the parallel convergence is coming down, so you stun Rainover, you have a free way out. You can even proc the passive for the move speed there very easily, so that was pretty slick from Froggen.
Definitely agree on this one. Advantage lane or not, Keith and Gate doing well in the bot lane. They've helped secure an Infernal Drake as a result. Echo Fox, of course, got that First Blood thanks to Froggen and Acadian, so really props all around so far for Echo Fox. And an early lane swap. Looper's going to head bot lane, and the duo is going to try to push down this Shen.
Yeah, and I think Looper just actually stayed bot after they went for that dragon because their bot lane had not base yet. So you can just keep Galio down who can easily wave clear. That's one of the biggest strengths of this guy as a tank is his ranged wave clear. So you put the bot lane up top, you can pressure that turret, and Shen cannot defend in a 1v2 or 1v3 anywhere close to as well as Galio can.
Yeah, Galio definitely, because they both can taunt. So if you go and attack the turret, they can both make you pull aggro, but Galio actually has wave clear like Shen does not. So here we go. Slightly better items on the marksman of this Varus, and we'll see how the damage comes across. And there we go. The wave clear at works. It saves several turret shots just by dealing damage to those minions. As Looper backs up, he knows better than to give away a kill here. And depending on how good his ward coverage is, he can see if Rainover is slinking by as well. And no threat on him. This turret will definitely fall for topside. Echo Fox making the best of an already good situation. First turret and that Infernal Drake and First Blood.
And they can actually keep pushing because you had Spiderlings tanking a little bit there as well. The second wave has come in, so this is thinned out enough by Looper that Echo Fox can likely get 2 turrets plus the first turret. So they are really getting a pretty big map advantage here over TL. This is kind of what they were struggling with against CLG the other day.
Really nice stuff. Piglet needs another wave before that turret falls, and meanwhile, Echo Fox getting so much more out of this, and the early game for Echo Fox continues to be incredibly strong. They might even finish 2 before 1 gets done.
Yep.
Even though Piglet will definitely knock down bot lane himself. Actually, as Looper comes in, he can maybe contest the Kog'Maw off the wave, and Echo Fox might have time. Keep it alive for a little bit longer.
Piglet's basing, so they're not even going to get 1 turret. So they give up first turret, 2 in the top lane. Now mid lane is being pressured. Galio can free shove in bot, and this early game has turned into just such a mess for TL as they were not able to actually match the pacing. The rotation down and leaving Galio to wave clear was really very smart from Echo Fox, and they're off to a big lead.
Really big lead. Nicely done by Echo Fox. Yeah, they've got all the tools to work with now, and nowhere else to go for your bot lane except, or your dual lane, except back to bot. You would think there's no turrets to kill, but they are still heading over there, leaving Looper in the bot side of the map. maybe Rift Herald coming up in 45 seconds is the reason they're keeping their strong side of the map over there. Another recall out of Acadian is level 6. Rainover has outfarmed him at least level 7 on this Kha'Zix.
Yeah, that is one thing going for them, but I mean, the first blood gold over to Acadian, he still should probably be stronger overall, and he has his
by 800
completed
gold
enchantment, so that's pretty big. Froggen should be winning this 1v1 isolated as well, as that's kind of a counter matchup, and Rainover doesn't have his sleeve, but this is the team, it should be fine.
Not enough threat on him. Slush does get a blue buff for all the effort, and that's something back in, and even a Scuttle Crab on the way down. Still want to see what the next aggressive moves are. I've been nothing but impressed with how Echo Fox have played these first 10 minutes. We'll see if they can keep going.
And I think you did call it right, you know, talking about that Rift Herald, keeping the bot lane top. You have Galio kind of on the bot side clearing, and there's already pings that were over onto the Rift Herald. Echo Fox has 3 or 4 members up here if you want to count Echo. They can look to clear out the jungle and then even pressure that Rift Herald if bot shows down here.
What are the odds they get a 13-minute inhibitor turret? Like, it's in the realm of possibility to summon Rift Herald and say, your inhibitor is ours before Barons even spawn. That is a potential play, and it's fun to think about what can be done, but you're right. A pretty much immediate Rift Herald take. I do like this out of Echo Fox. This is pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. And I mean, while taking that Rift Herald and going for the inhibitor turret can be strong, in this position I actually prioritize just going bot lane and just getting easier turrets. Yeah. Because, you know, knocking down that inhibitor turret, what is it actually going to get you? Unless you're going to be able to actually go in and take down that inhibitor and then pressure something with it, you essentially just end up allowing them to have like a permanent freeze, get more waves, kind of farming down there, and it's more risky, so you're not guaranteed to actually get that turret.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess to be fair, to backtrack on myself, it was more interesting than maybe the right choice, but interesting is what I live for here as a play-by-play commentator. And Echo Fox going to give this over to Froggen. Of course, he has running TP in the mid lane, so they can 1-3-1 eventually, and Froggen is empowered to knock down a turret by himself with that.
Yeah, and at that point, you know, when Froggen goes into the side lanes, it's going to be very, very strong. And how you use this Rift Herald is very interesting because you can just hold on to it for a few minutes, utilize the empowered recall. If you can get a pick first, it makes it so strong. And they have very good dive, very good engage. If they can actually move the Galio and the Elise around somewhere with the Echo, Echo dives in, drop the Galio ultimate, look to get a pick, then immediately drop the Rift Herald. You can often, instead of just getting 1 turret or damage, you can get 2.
Oh, look at this though, right on the polymorph, they're going to try to knock down Game, but not just yet. Galio joins for a big knockup. Rooted, airborne, taunted, the CC just was layered on Rainover. But they all do get away with it for now. Froggen now summons Herald for the mid lane, and they're going to have time to stop this. The charge going to come in pretty soon. It'll get it down to about 10% HP. And one more hit will knock it down for this one. Polymorph but still shielded up, and Froggen's going to run away. A couple more swipes should knock that down, and mid lane will indeed fall. Looks like they used it pretty early onto this one. Herald's still at half HP. They can go for mid lane tier 2 potentially. The Liquid are here to defend, and it means that Echo Fox likely to back out. Just that chunk will be all they get.
And I think it's pretty well done, though, from Froggen. You know, as soon as Slushy moves out of lane, you know you're almost guaranteed to get that first turret. And I think as long as you get 1 full turret like that, it's super worth. And they even get a little bit of chip damage on the next with that charge. They're in position to pressure this dragon. And what can TL really do from here? They don't have their waves in the right spots to trade anything out. Rift Herald's already gone off the map. So Echo Fox is just outplaying them completely in the map game.
A lot of really great plays here. You think about what they even gave up to take Rift Herald, the decision to put Heat and Gate topside. They traded a 200 health bot lane outer turret for the right to take Rift Herald when they wanted it and take away that entire western jungle. Just good plays down the line. Now look at Lorlo pushed away. Good stuff by Froggen.
And one of the things you often trade when you do move your bot lane top and you do these coordinated 3-4-man pushes early is you lose CS on your AD carry. Because there's 3 or 4 people there, you're just trying to shove the wave. But in this case, even though Piglet was by himself bot for all this time, he's actually down on Keith in the farm, plus down in the global gold. So they didn't really get anything out of it. They're even on levels. There's not even an experience advantage. So nothing has really seemed to go right for TL.
Keith right now over 600 gold above Piglet, despite the fact that he's got no kills to his scoreboard. Bot lane out are going to fall. Top lane the same, though, in Liquid's favor. They're going to trade objectives so far.
It's going to be a repeat, though. Echo Fox is going to push for 2, and TL's not going to be able to because they're behind the play. The jungler's already down here, and you have Galio to wave clear. So, you know, Echo Fox, again, taking more turrets. It's going to be their 5th turret 13, 14 minutes into the game.
At least this time around, the recalls made sense. They are still going to lose this turret, but at least the top lane outer actually fell, and Piglet got the last hit there. But you are absolutely right. It is a 2-for-1 turret trade. The gold lead, the Mountain Drake, the Infernal, all obviously helping with that. But as you mentioned, in Champ Select, it's the Galio, compositionally, they're better suited to this, and it's playing off.
It really is, and that's why you can't always just match your opponents. You have to, force your will upon them. You have to play to your own composition strengths, because trying to have a Shen match wave clear with a Galio is just never really going to work out for you. And
of course,
Cadian has been in the right place at the right time to push faster than Rain over here as well. And they have just put themselves in such a hole. I mean, it's crazy to think you're only 1 kill up 14 minutes in, but you're down 5,000 gold, which is a monumental lead at this stage in the game.
I want to ask you a hard question. And again, it's a hard question. Who do you give more credit to? Is it Echo Fox doing really, really smart things more than Liquid screwing up? As you said, you can't match your opponents if their comp is like this. Who gets more of the nod for why it's going this way?
I'd like to say Echo Fox simply because I kind of want to give them credit for the fact that it does feel like pretty well planned out. They had planned out their things a few steps ahead. It didn't just feel like they randomly went top and randomly had these things happen. They double TP bot. They leave their Galio there. That is premeditated to answer the wave clear possibly there. They move their stuff top. They then are planning around this Rift Herald. Like, I feel like everything has been planned a couple steps ahead for them, and that's why I want to give them some credit. But of course, in any situation where you get an enormous lead like this, there is fault to the other team there too.
Yeah.
Liquid did not respond properly to Echo Fox's good plays.
The case. And it's always interesting when you see good plays like these. If you haven't seen them yet, if no one's made this move against you, you've got to make it up on the fly. And later on in the split, maybe this is more common play for all teams with Galio, and this becomes commonplace week 7, but week 1 maybe it's a bit more unusual. And as you mentioned, Liquid not quite responding properly.
And that's fair, in the context of the NA-LCS. But if you watched MSI, the Gigabyte Marines actually utilized early lane swaps in combination with Galio picks very frequently, and that's something that you should be able to think about, as an analyst and as a pro player. What are the strengths of this champion? Well, impressive long-range wave clear. Well, that's probably going to be a lot better in defending a 1v3 or a 1v4 than someone like a Shen, right? So you have to think about the strengths and weaknesses of your composition, where you excel, where you fall behind, and really play to that. And Team Liquid has not done that this game, and that's why they're so far behind. It's like you may have lost the game before you even fought, essentially.
Another question is, how good is Echo Fox's mid to late game shot calling going to be? We've seen all kinds of games of them having early game leads this good. The first Blood King, Cadian himself, got it again here in this one. And the question is, what more can they do? First 15 minutes, good shot calling. They've gotten a 5-2 turret lead. But as we crest the 6,000 gold lead in the 17-minute mark, the turrets aren't free anymore. You've got to start making some good plays. There's no Rift Herald to give you one on the back of its own hard work. So Echo Fox, what's next for you?
And I do agree. And in a lot of situations, that becomes a big question for me. In this one, I will give them the credit of having what I think is a pretty easy game plan. You can 1-3-1 with this Echo. You can even 1-4 and have the Galio with the team protecting, and you have a ton of wave clear between Karma, Galio, Varus, and Elise. Like, that is a massive amount of wave clear from that squad. And then you have now Froggen, who's quite ahead in gold because of Global Gold and his farm. And he can just split push, essentially, until he gets an enormous advantage. Like, this seems like a pretty clear-cut way to end the game, simply by playing side lanes and wave clearing.
And it looks like their general split push capacities are going to look good. Froggen, regardless of which lane he goes to, is against 2 magic damage dealers in Lorlo and Slushy. Maybe Rainover turns it around if he can show up to that lane. Right? It's not like Froggen has itemized armor yet. He went Merc Treads. By the opposite point, Lorlo and Slushy just have only magic damage to deal with the Cadian playing Elise. There's small elements that can soften the blow of the gold lead, but it is still there for Echo Fox, obviously.
Yeah, and to your point, Kha'Zix is a great champion at picking off split pushers. But that said, Galio also does help alleviate some of that issue quite a bit. If you have Froggen in the bot lane, say Galio in the mid lane helping to wave clear, you don't have to live that long before this guy is in range with a level 2 or a level 3 ultimate to actually come in and turn things around.
We'll see if that safety comes in for Echo Fox, but they don't even need it. Reaper has yet to use his ult. Oh no, he has. I take that back. He has popped it in once in a River team fight that became a 0-for-0 in kills regardless. And looks like it's Piglet who's given a lot of space to push in the top side with. He's already pushed out Froggen. So it's maybe a 3-1-1 for these guys, calling for, I forget if it's actually for information or something. I think it's the non-emergency police hotline. Doesn't matter. I've already ruined the joke. But either way, Echo Fox still retaining map control. And because they got that first Drake 6 minutes in, they're going to get so many to kill. I believe they can get up to 5 Drake stacks this game before Elder Dragon spawns. And they know it's only going to be Mountains, Infernals, and Clouds here. And it's going to be double Infernal next up. So lots of late game scaling available if Echo Fox can keep control of the bot side of the map.
Yeah, there definitely is. And, you know, at the same time, we do know for TL, you're building a very strong team fight composition, and if you can funnel enough farm into Kog'Maw and then Xbox takes a bad fight or gives up a Baron or something like that, all of a sudden you can sometimes just walk down and kind of kill the other team and end the game. So, you know, Echo Fox definitely does not have a free win here by any means, but they have put themselves in a really good position to take this game, and the fact that Froggen is already on his Lich Bane plus Proto Belt, like such a good position to split push.
Totally agree, and we'll see what they can do with this one. Echo Fox putting their core together, jungler, bot lane support. That's the core three that's going to roam around, as you mentioned, with 1-3-1. They're the ones doing the heavy lifting through the jungle, using Acadian Sightstone, using Gate Sightstone, and making sure that Looper and Froggen can just focus on the lanes themselves, and you're seeing that they're mostly playing right now around Froggen's side.
And I do really like how much they have focused on vision, right? If you look at TL's blue side jungle, there's an enormous amount of wards just got dropped there. They have a line of pink wards around kind of their weak side of the map where they're not focusing on that vision, and it's going to give them so much more freedom to actually push aggressively and set up picks, perhaps, like what just happened on Matt, where you force out that summoner because he needs to try to fight back for vision as the Baron is unlocked and as this side of the jungle is lost. You can farm that out and really get edges.
Flash down, 300-second cooldown, so 25 minutes when it comes back up. Maybe they find another catch. It's only been a one-kill game, but it's been one where Echo Fox has certainly made almost all of the good moves. Liquid hoping to continue to scale up. This Kog'Maw can eventually become a threat, but still yet to finish the Hurricane. Once again, checking on the gold between these two marksman players, and it is 700 apart in Keith's benefit. And here comes the early sub-21-minute Baron Nashor attempt, and it's in full fog of war.
Exactly, that's the benefit of all the vision control they've had, and TL may not be expecting them to make such a bold move this early on, and the Baron is just going to go straight over to Echo Fox because of their vision control, and because of the lead, TL is way too scared to even approach.
It's really, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't. Echo Fox, for the last 6 minutes, it felt like all they did is say, let's play around Baron Nashor vision, just completely control that side of the map, and when it spawns, we'll finally go. And you can see there it was. This was, I think, several minutes in the making, just continue to make sure that that side of the map looks good, and Echo Fox reaped the rewards of a low-risk, incredibly high-reward play, and now with Baron, Echo Fox can do even more.
Yeah, and we talked about their win condition of split pushing. The Baron unlocks that so much, and this early in the game, it's incredibly difficult to clear 3 waves of Baron minions. So if Echo Fox can actually have this set up, you have the 1-3-1, buff up minions in all 3 lanes, it's very likely that they can get some damage down on these inhibitor turrets, or perhaps even crack and get an inhibitor this early on.
And it's been a pretty easy game to sit and play, and for some of the Echo Fox members to just show up here and kill the mini waves in front of you and make sure you don't screw up your auto attacks. And it's been good shot calling. That is the 95% of the legwork here for Echo Fox, is just simply being in the right place and having the right plans. And now they're playing around the bot side, maybe near the mid lane as well. The minion wave is here, and they're looking for the potential dive. The shield for Frog keeps him safe, and that's going to be turret number 1 of the Baron buff. Still 2 minutes to play with.
And this is one of the things, is you put the right people in the right place, you start getting XP advantages, they're taking over their jungle, and you can see XP advantages are opening up. You know, 2 levels up for Acadian, 2 levels up for Froggen, a level up for Keith. Like, the experience alone is so big and adds so much power to their players and to these champions.
It even has power to the minions.
Yeah.
Turret deficits also. So even the minions are better than TL's minions based on how League of Legends works right now. So difficulty all over the board. Baron buff even adding to that. And now onto the bot lane inhibitor turret. Looks like Echo Fox can look for a bit more. Gate completes the support quest, and the crowd goes wild.
Oh, there you go.
We had 1 kill. I got to get something from you guys. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's actually, I think, the best support quest, because the move speed is actually quite nice. But Froggen now looking to set up a little threatening dive, and he has his Lich Bane. He can get a lot of damage done.
Rain over at half, ults back out for safety, back to full HP, and there we go. Inhibitor turret is gone. Turret number 2 dead.
And I mean, TL's not even fighting this. Lorlo is still pushing top. They're essentially just making the call to give up their inhibitor, which this early on feels like a bit of a death sentence, as there's still lots of time on the Baron. They can potentially even lose another.
Cocoon almost lands on Solution. That could have been a kill, but now it's actually almost lights out for Acadian, able to repel up, and Looper buys him a bit of time as well, but Acadian's still going to get attacked, and looks like patience may just pay off. Will they take him down? The flash, Rain over and Piglet secure the kill. 1-1 on the scoreboard. As the champion has finally died, as Froggen will run through the base to leave Piglet. But he gets some damage, though. Look at how much he's actually got. Ult Snipe could kill him. Oh, 1 more hit, the flash follow. And a flash to run for Froggen. He's out of range now, and Piglet does not have... Oh, he does! Oh, he does! He actually had the mana, I take it back. Piglet from downtown gets the kill.
Nicely done by Piglet, picks up a blue buff, a couple kills. If there's going to be one savior in this game, it has to be Piglet. So giving him that gold is going to be pretty big for them. But they did lose an inhibitor and a lot of gold on this push. And they were very patient. It was actually Echo Fox that make the play, allowing them to come back in as Acadian looks for this cocoon on the side. They wanted more than just the inhibitor. And I believe he goes for it right here onto Slushy. The flash respond, and look at the damage coming out of Piglet, almost taken down immediately. This prompts them to just go for the all-in. Lorlo is here, they know they can chase, as Acadian is already essentially out of the fight.
All just after the inhibitor had already died, they chose to stay and look for more kills, and of course that didn't happen. And in this chase on a Froggen, I mean, really good damage out of Piglet, of course. Crits on one of the auto attacks, crits on, wow, actually 3 crits and 5 autos is really rare for a Kog'Maw with exactly a 30 crit chance. So lucky for Piglet for sure, but the blind snipe, really beautiful.
Good stuff from him. Another Infernal, though, unfortunately going to go the way of Echo Fox as they get their 4th straight Dragon. And you talked about the Dragon dominance. They will be able to pick up a 5th if it comes to that point, but now double Infernal added into the mix makes things even harder. They have the bottom inhibitor down, which is the ideal one for pressuring Baron as that comes up. And they can simply do a 1-4 split. Looper pushes mid with the rest of the team, and if anyone tries to collapse onto Froggen, you can ult right over there.
You absolutely can. So into the mid lane, they're going to go with this. Froggen actually backfill into the mid lane as well. They're going to stay with 5. Unfortunately for Echo Fox, they don't have quite that deathless game they were hoping for. The overstep inside the base did drop them 2, but may not matter. Downing kills are relevant when you're up 7-2 in turrets. And look for that mid lane. No attacks coming in just yet, though. They're still playing a bit safe, looking for poke more than anything else. And Piglet going to wave clear and keep his mana pool healthy enough to keep trying again next wave.
And one of the things that I do sometimes prefer, actually, in these sorts of scenarios is when the really strong split pusher actually pushes in the lane where the inhibitor is already down, because that can often put more pressure on, because it's actually very difficult as a Shen at this point in the game to solo clear out these super minions. And if you're getting shoved to the Nexus turret, that lane can oftentimes create more pressure than just pushing in that top lane. So it could be something that they'd look to do maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, and what's nice is the minion waves are so close together when you're this close to the opposing base. Galio is always in range for the ulti. He is only ever 2 seconds away from joining the rest of the squad, so it is pretty easy for Luca to do that. And even if you dive someone, they get the damage reduction. It's actually pretty convenient to get that to happen. Right now, the Echo Fox can go for another reset, and they have given a bit more time for Liquid to breathe. And it seems like based on their play, they're playing mostly for Baron number 2. And less to push an inhibitor down at this time.
And I mean, as Baron spawns, Piglet likely will not have his flash back up. And being that flashless Kog'Maw, it's so easy if he's checking into, no vision areas to dive on this guy with the Elise, with the Echo, and then follow up with the Galio. And if they can all land on top of him, there's almost no chance of survival for Piglet.
The case here, 9,000 gold lead. Echo Fox still staying inside the jungle, hoping maybe someone looks at their blue buff. And you're going to see the ping saying, hey, join me here, join me there.
Dark. It's just no vision whatsoever for TL around that Baron, and they're just going to keep waiting for now and keep controlling this area as the bot lane will push him from supers, creating pressure there. Echo Fox will have the chance to either bait as Baron spawns or even just rush it down as they did last time.
Absolutely the case. 9,000 gold. Let's see what they can get on the mid lane. Froggen looks for the stun, not going to find it. Patience, another reset for Acadian. The fact they've recalled about 7 times last minute says, yep, it's definitely the Baron play. And they've routinely said, let's make sure the vision is gone. That's been successful so far. Froggen and Looper actually still going to threaten topside because they expected TL to go and contest Baron vision once again. And it means that top inhib is under threat. Froggen's going to kite back. Looper feels safe doing this. And as the minion wave falls, let's see what's going to come in next.
And the bases that they have been completed have been pretty impactful here. Is Froggen going to jump onto Rainover, but
holds back to be safe. It's a pretty short cooldown. He's got 30 CDR in items and maybe more in runes. Either way, Froggen's going to feel pretty good about that. And they have not yet hit the Baron. It has already spawned. And in fact, bot lane inhibitors respawned as well. So sadly for Echo Fox, they've really gotten nothing done aside from that second Infernal Drake as a result from the inhibitor kill.
Yeah, you do think, though, they should have all the advantages to grab the Baron. And this next Baron should be one that they can end the game with if they're able to secure it. That said, if TL can hold them off and be able to take the Baron themselves or even just contest it and keep delaying the game, they could get themselves into a spot where they could really start doing some work. But we don't even know. Teal could already be losing that Baron.
Yeah, they don't know which one it is. If they're waiting in the brush, they're going for the fight. All they saw was that Varus and Echo were around, but no one else. So who knows? Is Baron dying? What do you guess? Is Baron dead or not, chat? Is Baron dead or not, audience? Is Baron dead or not, Azael? I can see on my screen it's not, but you never know, and it's impossible to say. And they played for a kill. They didn't get it. They could have killed off Baron, but it wasn't something they knew how Liquid were going to react to.
And I think now, with Shen showing bot lane, I think you have to at least try to force out a Stand United or a TP and then look for the fight. So they are going to start it up. Galio is kind of trying to wait. They're trying to delay a little bit on the side here, and that should give it away that they are over on that Baron. Now pushing him out, they secure the Baron. No chance of a smite steal from Rainover.
Yeah, they had Froggen on standby to make sure he could join in and fight Rainover if needed, and that's not going to be a pickup for Liquid here. Good stun. They find Keith for some damage. Gets a shield, though, and out he goes. Lifesteal's back off the Raptors, thanks to his Blade of the Ruin King. Hexdrinker meant he wouldn't get one shot by Slushy's ult, and the Syndra chooses to save that cooldown, which I believe is actually the right choice here.
Yeah, especially with Gate there, right beside him.
Yeah.
Very likely going to get a shield out before he would go down anyway. So Baron back up for Echo Fox, and this is one where they really want to start to putting the finishing touches on this game, right? You need to be able to push in, get that bot inhibitor, have Froggen really pressuring top. He's almost level 18. He has those 3 items, and they should be looking to knock down multiple inhibitors here and try to close out the game.
They can get for themselves as the bot lane is the place of Looper's new residence. Waiting for a couple more seconds. Slushy to wave clearing the top side, and at this point, Echo Fox, it is time to close the game out. There's no more reasons to keep waiting. Baron number 2 is as good as an Elemental Dragon or Elder Dragon would be here at this point. So Echo Fox, how good are you at closing the game out with a 9,000 gold lead?
Yeah, because if they can't close with this Baron, I mean, Kog'Maw is getting very close to the point where it starts being quite concerning. I mean, when you finish that Rage Blade, you have a QSS on top of that, the 3 items, you can really turn around some fights. Like, you can start doing some major damage at that point in the game. So Piglet would be a threat to really be able to take things over. So Echo Fox want to push the pace, want to try to close this out, and they're looking for a pick on Froggen.
Zonius for Froggen means he's going to dodge away from Slushy's stun. Now going to kite back. Shield is around if he needs it. He can just barely ult with 16 mana remaining. But now he's still on the wrong side of this fight. He's hoping to buy time for his team who are pushing the bot lane. So Froggen is 1v2, but the rest of his team has killed off part of the base. Problem is, it's trading a kill for an open inhibitor feels wrong for the team with a 9,000 gold lead in Baron.
Yeah, I agree. I think Froggen should have just made a run for it. He had his flash available. Instead of actually trying to use the Zonias there, you can simply run straight up, flash away. If they chase you away from the base, you're allowing your team even more time and perhaps the ability to even try to push for an end there in a delayed 4v3. So he wanted to try to make the big play and maybe try to turn it around on a Slushy, or simply didn't think he could get out, but I have to feel like he could have just flashed out of there and at least bought more time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's likely he could have played that one differently, and that's the way it's going to be for now. Quick red buff goes over to Piglet. And as far as that Blade of the Ruin King, he's still roughly 1,000 gold away from the combined cost. He still needs the Blasting Wand and the, I think it's 875 for combined. So several minutes to go still for him. He'll get as much gold as he can. As Echo Fox now have Froggen respawning in 45 seconds of a Baron buff. They're going to look for mid before that Rage Blade will be done.
Yeah, they really would like to get something more off this Baron, because while the gold lead is still large, you know, it was 10K a while ago, right? And as you get later and later in the game, the gold lead means less and less percentage-wise. So this gold lead is not only shrinking by number, but it's also shrinking by impact, you know, this late in the game. And if you give it too much more time, that gold lead is going to really not be relevant whatsoever.
This will be the case. So we'll see if Fox can make it keep going, because they've still got themselves a bit of a timer. We know Piglet has the mechanics, and he's certainly got the champion to make this late game happen. Liquid actually 3-1 up in kills. Almost illustrates that Echo Fox have not had a good time getting into good fights. Their early macro play has been good, but they've been riding on that for so long. It's been a slow, risk-averse, Baron-focused play style. No Banshees pop right there. Good sidestep by Occasion. This time he will lose it to Fire Arcane Barrage, but now a root on Piglet pops the QSS to get away. It's looking for more damage. Keep that half HP. Occasion finds a stun, but gets zoned out by Rainover, but it did chunk down Piglet to 1/4. There is no minion wave to push with, though. Meanwhile, as you had talked about earlier, it is Froggen pushing in the super minion wave down towards the Nexus, and that is going to be harder to defend for the Shen.
Yeah, and I think that's actually very intelligent. He can actually try to threaten some damage onto the turrets even, because Shen is not really going to be able to return much damage. There's no chance of a 1v1 type kill there. Echo Fox needs to siege aggressively. They're trying to do that, and Froggen is even looking to threaten a flank.
Not gonna find it just yet. Gate gets a bit of speed out of his quest and runs right back down, but that inhibitor turret's at half HP, and Froggen is still buying a bit of time. It's almost unfortunate Echo Fox would like an Ocean Drake in that mix for the regen on these extended sieges, for how long they are outside the base trying to crack through, and there's no extra regen for that. Maybe a Warmog could help on Looper a little bit for a bit of extra touch there. Really minor things that wouldn't necessarily change the outcome of the game, but would make this maybe easier to do.
Yeah, the Warmogs is actually an interesting one. We saw Darshan buy it the other day, just essentially standing as that front line in front of his AD carry the whole time, intentionally absorbing poke, making their opponents kind of waste their spells, because then you just step back, you regen right back up, and if it's one of these prolonged situations, Warmogs is very powerful. Where the item is not as strong is in like a full-on all-in, because then the passive is really doing nothing for you, and some of the other tank items become more effective.
Right, and you're buying raw health against a Kog'Maw with a Ruin King who literally does % health damage, so you're right, there's pros and cons to it. Echo Fox right now going for the efficient in-combat items, and we'll see if they can get more. Right now it's going to be yet another reset, so Baron number 2 did as much as Baron number 1, which was kill an inhibitor and lose some players.
Yeah, and I mean, for all the credit we were giving Echo Fox for how well they played the early game, they really are feeling like they're stalling out, and yes, they still have the advantage. Yes, they have 5 dragons, and if they pick up an Elder, that will be massive. But they do at some point have to pull the trigger and actually be willing to go for more aggressive plays, go for a dive, get something done with that. Because for now, it's been Piglet just aggressively wave clearing, and Echo Fox without much of an answer. They have not been willing to try a dive. They have not been willing to really push in and take down more inhibitors, which could be the killing blow.
3750 will be the Elder Dragon respawn, so we're just shy of 2 minutes on that, which means actually Echo Fox in 1 minute can kill Baron, wait another minute, pick up Elder Dragon, and then there is no possible stronger state you could be in this game to close the game out. And with how slow Echo Fox has been playing, I think you absolutely now go for that play with the 2 staggered objectives, and then that's how you try to win.
The question is, did they wait too long? You know, this is actually a very strong Kog'Maw at this point, and while vision advantage is still a very, very real thing, if you stack up as a 5-man squad here for TL, have the Shen be the one kind of face-checking some of these bushes, get some vision back, you could realistically take a fight at this point in the game. The lead is not such a big deal anymore. Obviously, Double Infernal and the gold lead is still very big, but Lulu Kog'Maw is going to make up for a lot of that.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Lulu's going towards a Zeke's Harbinger with, or Zeke's Herald, I forget what it's called now at this point, but with how the itemization is going, that cloth armor is likely to be that. It's that or a locket, we'll see what it ends up being, but one of the options to give more damage to Piglet. Now mid lane, you can see that TL actually feels pretty comfortable, like sitting outside their base, letting Piglet walk up for auto attacks, and he certainly does feel safe off this so far.
And Froggen working on this bot lane inhibitor again. He will be able to get it eventually. There's not much of anything I think Lolo can actually do to stop him. So he does take that, but it's not the end of the world, and TL has done exactly what I said. They're able to move out as a squad, and they're able to actually get vision around the Baron here, which means they should be in a position to potentially contest. That said, Echo Fox still has the 5 dragons. They could even threaten a trade and then try to dive or try to do something, but they need to eventually make a move, and this is really starting to feel like a lot of the problems that Echo Fox had in the past.
On the wrong side.
Felt like they didn't do anything.
Wow, Matt actually just like almost walked into Acadian down there. I know he had flash available, maybe he gets away, but almost could have gotten run over for that one. Echo Fox didn't see him in time, and looks like they're going to go for this Baron first. If Liquid snipe the Elder Dragon, it's not a very big pickup for them, but the denial against Echo Fox is quite good, obviously. Lushi playing aggro, looking for a stun, not finding it just yet. TP flank, this could be the moment.
That is Froggen, and they are looking. Slushie is spread out from the rest of the team.
He can't get out of this one. He's just dead immediately. There's the first kill picked up. Gallia makes the entrance, says, I'm here too, guys, and gets the assist for the damage reduction on it. And now it's a 4v5. It's going to be difficult for Liquid to fight this one. I think Echo Fox are happy to take on a battle at this point, but can they have it start? Poke coming out for Piglet. It's all about this Kog'Maw. Can he kite away? Can he get the damage? Puts on the Fire Arcane Barrage. He's timing it out as Echo Fox kite back. He's going to run out of range soon enough.
Look at that damage on Pete. That's 2 autos to do half his health.
But Piglet's back down to half range now. Can they find the taunt on this one? Piglet heals up for 160, and back to the mid lane they go. Full HP, and Piglet's W should be back up from cooldown. Looking for the stun is Froggen. Can't find it just yet. Big minion wave still stacking in the bot lane. Echo Fox can turn tail and run down to mid a little bit. There's no minion wave for them in mid, but going to look back at Baron instead. 20 seconds on Slushie respawning. Froggen and co cannot find the team fight. Liquid fighting back just simply too well. And that pick on Slushy means almost nothing. 10 seconds till he's back, and they can only just now start on Baron.
Yeah, I mean, TL will have to send someone bot to answer these super minions, and Echo Fox is on the Baron. They have double Mountain, double Infernal. It's going down so fast.
And they're going to knock it down so fast to get the Guardian Angel as well, and Slushy cannot join the fight just yet. He's stuck inside the base. They should pick up 2. It's the stun on Rainover. That's going to be the 2 kills that they need. And once again, a 5v4, this time with the Baron buff. Do they choose mid or do they choose the Elder Dragon? The flash forward for Frog and has to ult back away, but Piglet's 1 hit away from dead. Can Keith get him with a snipe? And he does not guess properly. The juke to the left keeps Piglet safe for now. There's a flash. Cocoon's going to miss the stun onto Acadian, puts him down to 800 HP. Echo Fox though back in the chase forward.
But they do get the Baron, they do take down Rainover, and they could even grab the Elder Dragon, but they're looking to just try to push this down with the mana advantage. Now they can finally be aggressive and look to close out this game.
The only summoner left on Liquid is Lorlo's Flash, which can be high impact, but it's still a 5 versus 4. Not that much poke really to be had by the squad. Looper putting the attacks down, keeps the same. Lorlo has to get pushed back a little bit, and now it's a double inhibitor death. 10-second respawn for Rainover as the minion wave gets cleared trivially down in the bot lane.
But they're not going to push mid. They're actually just going to base. They want to set up for Elder, I guess, here. They don't want to try to make that riskier play. I mean, you're still giving TL more chances. Yes, they're having all the advantages, but you give them too many chances in a 5v5 fight, they still could win here. I mean, Echo Fox was struggling even in the 5v4 with the initial pick on Slushy.
And of course, you keep in mind, these are humans. You can make mistakes. Those slip-ups do happen, and maybe one major slip-up is all Liquid needs to get back into the game. There's only a few items, slots left to go for Piglet. Elder Dragon now is the attack, and can Liquid really contest this? They can maybe look for a steal, but there's no flash on Rainover.
I feel like with 2 inhibitors down, you have to try to fight here, but it doesn't look like they're in position. I mean, a 5 Elder Dragon burn is just like...
Yep.
Enormous.
It's a 6 stack now, so 45 damage times 6 stacks is almost 300 damage anytime you even touch a guy here on this one. As we look in, Echo Fox trying to close down onto the mid lane. They've got every piece of power they could possibly need. Can they close out the game? They started out so incredibly well, looking for the inhibitor turret number 1, looking to blast that one down. Not a chance to respawn. And there's so few defenses left. Frog goes in and ults right back out just to kite away and burn some ult, but he nearly got knocked up by the wild growth, but did hit R in time. Weaver jumps back out, and again, Echo Fox having a tough time. Not much to do with this one. Looking now for the inhibitor itself. The siege is on, the shield is there. The inhib likely to fall. Piglet still in the wings, nearly down to Cocoon. Look for damage into Acadian, knocks him pretty low. Back onto Keith. He might take down Keith, but the taunt is there. The knock-up, and they got Piglet, and that is all they really needed. Now Rainover forced to kite away. He's burning down from the dragon, but the inhibitor is going to fall. And Echo Fox, 5 men strong, finally have the tools to break into the base. No inhibitor standing, only the Nexus turrets left up, and Piglet, the primary carry, no longer here to defend them. A TP just to make sure it's easy. Looper to rejoin the fight in the front line. The first turret going to fall. Keith in the back lines. He and Gate did win the lane, and it was a lot of the reason this game started out so well. And finally, Echo Fox, it was a struggle, but 7 total kills in. They will knock down the Nexus, and Echo Fox 3-0 in games, taking on the first one against Liquid.
They get the job done. It wasn't clean, but they finally are able to capitalize. They force the QSS from Piglet, and then knowing he has no summoners, Looper can flash in on him, and they take him down. A valiant hold at the end for quite some time from Liquid, but they just gave up way too much in the early game, and their macro game left so much to be wanted from that. I mean,
yeah,
Liquid, it's been the story in all their games so far. They have not been able to match up with their opponent's map movements and not been able to really go toe-to-toe in the early game with that.
Yeah, it's just so interesting, right? This is not a game you can blame the mid laner switch for. It's just them simply not really playing very well as a team. Again, it's 80% credit to Echo Fox, 20% credit to Liquid for not answering properly here. I do like the early plays that Echo Fox had. I thought there were some really smart things. The invade from Acadian, the first blood due to Froggen coming down as well. The lane swap using the Galio with the item lead of the lane advantage they'd already picked up by going for the early Varus and the early Karma. Like, these are things that were choices of Echo Fox. You can see the lane swap come in here. Just, it's an item lead, and on the other side, Galio can just wave clear.
Exactly, and that was one of the biggest things, is that Galio had been consistently thinning out that wave. So not only does Echo Fox get the first turret, they also get 2 turrets, and Liquid cannot even finish the first of their own. So, like, this lead was so big, and a lot of it was kind of precipitated by that Galio being able to wave clear, but it's also some poor decisions from Liquid. I mean, Rainover could have simply stepped out and helped finish off that turret, but then they were panicking that they're losing 2 turrets in the top lane. They did not have the right people in the right place, and they gave up so much. And this happened not even just then, it happened again when they switched their bot lane back to bot. They take 2 turrets for a 1 turret trade in the eventual trade again.
Yeah, and of course that one may be more predicated on the fact they have a gold lead and a mountain and an infernal drake, but the situation is still there where the first 15 minutes were incredibly well played for Echo Fox, and even the 15 to 20 slowdown where they said let's only play for Baron, I still think that's a good choice because it is harder to crack the inhibitor when you're 18 minutes into the game. But 20 to 40 minutes in was like just nothing happening. They're going negative in kills despite a 9,000 gold, despite holding onto a Baron. You can see one of these defenses here where they just tried too hard to kill off Slushi.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you want a little bit too much. They popped the cleanse, so they're thinking, hey, maybe we can actually end the game if I can land a cocoon here. But you could just take the inhibitor and then push in mid, get another inhibitor instead. Katie goes for the big play, is not able to land it. Slushi with a nice counter flash, and they are able to kind of turn around this fight, chase them down, and at least push them out of the base. But you know, Echo Fox was in control the whole time. The main criticism for them, if any, was really just how long they took to close a game with 5 dragons, an over 10,000 gold lead, multiple barons, and an eventual elder. Like, it took them so long to finish off what should have been a very routine game, and perhaps if it was another team with that lead, might have been, you know, a 25, 26-minute game.
Sure, totally agree with the ability to end the game. Definitely wonky from Echo Fox. Our final replay is going to be the game ender, where they finally did have the 6-stack Elder Dragon, the Baron on top of it, and they'd already done well before.
Yeah, and Piglet is trying to, you know, posture aggressively, trying to chunk out the backline, trying to make something big here happen, but he had no summoners. The QSS gets forced. It's an easy taunt flash in there for Looper, and as soon as you get a hold of that Kog'Maw, he's the linchpin. He's essentially the entire composition at that point in the game.
Yeah, he really is, and just at a certain point, you can't dodge everything forever, and that opening finally presented itself for Echo Fox. And again, maybe they were there and they failed to take them, but this was the one where they finally got the lead, held onto it, and did something with it. And of course, with the Kog'Maw dead, that was just, okay, we can close the game out from there. And it means it's 3 games now. It means that it's Echo Fox who are undefeated in games, undefeated in matches. Of course, they took down FlyQuest yesterday, which is actually a pretty strong team, and they arguably got an upgrade in the bot lane with Wild Turtle, so that's already a good win. Liquid, yes, they've been struggling to find their footing. But in a season that's already been so interesting, where the top teams are all losing and the bottom teams now doing really well, with like Immortals being 2-0, etc. Like, this is nice to see all the sort of tumultuation. I don't know if that's a word.
Tumultuous.
The tumultuous sort of early standing so far, where Echo Fox had sat around in like 8th place, and hey, maybe they're going to be tied for first at the end of the first week, which is good for them.
Yeah, it definitely is. But to be fair, strength of schedule, I think, also plays a big part in that here as well. You know, they are playing up against FlyQuest, and which was, you know, a top 4
reasonable
team, to be fair. But then now you are playing up against Liquid, and one of the things that is worrying for me for Echo Fox is just the trend of kind of the struggles in the late game. As far as, you know, you look at Froggen in the Solution versus Cassidy game, where they, you know, failed to actually kill the Nexus against FlyQuest, and then it took so long, and then this eventual kind of like crazy backdoor scenario where they are able to actually finish it out. But they're massively ahead in that game too.
Yeah.
And they really struggled to close, as they did here. And if you give really good teams a lot of opportunities to come back and you give them too much time, you can get punished. And that has been something that Echo Fox has been struggling with for the last year plus.
I totally agree, and I think we will see those slip-ups punish them in the future, but of course, this was still a game win for Echo Fox. It's funny because it feels like it was a game 2.
Yeah.
Because, like, the first half of the game was like, all right, GG. If that's SKT, like, the Nexus falls at 18 minutes, and you're like, all right, that's game 1. Wow, that was a slaughter, good for them. And then, like, the back half of the game felt like game 2, where it was, like, more equal footing and Liquid are team fighting well. But that was only the first one. We still got at least one more game to go, and we are stepping away for a quick break. But meet us back here for the real game 2 between Echo Fox and Team Liquid. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back. Good stun from Frog, not going to land that just yet, but the Cocoon from the Fog of War is going to land, and First Blood comes through. Buys him a bit of time as well, but Acadia's still going to get attacked, and looks like Patience may just pay off. Will they take him down to Flash? Reignover and Piglet secure the kill, 1-1 on the scoreboard. And a flash to run for Frog, and he's out of range now, and Piglet does not have... Oh, he does! Oh, he does! He actually has the mana. I take it back. Piglet from downtown gets the kill.
I taunt soon. I'm gonna look for Echo though. He's zoom. I'm looking for Echo too. I go. I'm not gonna ulti. Okay, good job. Oh my god. 3, 2, 1, Mantra E. Here, go. I'm waiting. Nice.
Good job. Burn. Actually,
yeah. Go for Kog. No, dragon.
Yes, I can go. Go for him.
They will knock down the Nexus, and Echo Fox 3-0 in games, take on the first one against Liquid.